Greetings. Today is Tuesday, December 28th, 2010, and we're still waiting for snow here in the Denver area. We've had about an inch and a half total this entire winter, and normally we're supposed to have over 2 feet by now. People are actually watering their lawns and watering their trees, and I know that sounds bizarre to many people in the rest of the United States and other places in the world too, where you've just been hammered with snowfall. Here in Denver, we've had very little, so we're expecting some by the end of the week. We'll see. If we get none, then this will go down as being the driest December in history here in Denver. So anyway, I have a bit of a change for you. I have been using the title Get Unstuck for these videos, and after doing some thinking and sharing and talking and kind of putting a poll out on Facebook and so on, I've decided to change it to be Live Unstuck instead. Now this is a subtle but important change. Getting unstuck is part of living unstuck, but staying unstuck and living that way, there's a lot more to it than just simply getting yourself unstuck. So it's an interesting week, the week between Christmas and New Year's, and most of the world of professional services and consulting and speaking and so on is pretty quiet. So a lot of people in my line of work, what they tend to do this time of year is they do some planning, they do some thinking, they look at what might be possible in 2011. I know of someone who regularly checks herself into a Marriott hotel about a mile from home, and she spends 3 days doing planning. Well, I'm not quite that much into planning, but I have been thinking and so on, and what's new for 2011. The economy is showing some sign of life and all of that. So anyway, also an important thing that happens this time of year before the new year is many people look at what resolutions they might make going into the new year. And you see TV advertisement for that all the time. Well, resolutions tend not to work very well, and the reason they tend not to work very well is the motivation behind them is kind of weak. It focuses on low energy things like should and ought and so on, and things that really aren't terribly motivating. It's why you find the gyms are full the first week of January, but by the first week of February, things are pretty much back to normal, and the people that had made the resolution are no longer working to keep it. So looking at planning and thinking about resolutions, I got a different way of looking at it. It's more of a live unstuck approach. Now, certainly there's motivations that we should do things. Like I said, that just doesn't work very well. There's a completely different set of motivations that come from a high energy place, a place of flow and the zone and so on, a place where our energy is added to us and so on. It's a place in the Jump Innovative Change model that focuses on what wants to happen. Now, we have to be aware, we have to be paying attention, we have to be plugged into the zone, if you will, in order for these things to come forward. But I'd be willing to bet there's a whole bunch of things in your world, in your life right now, that would fit into the category of what wants to happen as opposed to what you think should happen or the things we're trying to make happen. It's amazing what happens to our energy when we plug into this area of what wants to happen. So here's what I want you to kind of think about as you're doing your planning for the next year, your resolution finding, whatever it might be. Instead of looking at things on your list that you should do, or you ought to do, or you have an obligation to do, take a few minutes instead and look at what gives you energy, what makes you excited, what you would do anyway, and what's on your list of things that want to happen in your life. Spend a few minutes there. See what you might come up with, and I look forward to seeing you again after the new year. This is the Live Unstuck moment for today. Thanks for stopping by.